What's the difference between a standard bathroom remodel and a high-end designer one? You may be thinking that I'm going to say something along the lines of fancy imported tile, freestanding bathtub, or a wall-hung toilet. And while all those elements are really nice, my answer is actually behind the spatial plan, the functionality, the blueprints, the detail that went into planning. In 2025, designers are relying on 5 different bathroom vanity types. And these vanity types go beyond just the interior design trends. They're actually built to solve problems. They're made to be functional, while also giving the clients that luxury bathroom feeling. So stay along in this video to see the 5 different vanity types, get to know how to build these vanities, how to integrate them in your own interior design projects. You'll see all the details of all of these different vanity sets, and you'll get to know how to draw these vanities for a build-ready document set. So let's get started. Hi everyone, my name is Daniela, interior designer. I actually started my career off in kitchen and bath design, specifically custom millwork design. So I know a thing or two about a good vanity design, and I've also seen some disastrous vanities, design choices gone wrong. And specifically in a bathroom, you need to pay attention to the vanity. There's a lot of standard items in a bathroom, but really the most custom elements in a bathroom is the vanity. So the more customization, the more choices, and therefore the more opportunities there are to make some critical mistakes. But I don't like to look at it that way. There's also opportunity to make these vanities the most functional and beautiful vanities due to customization. So in today's video, I'm going to be walking you through the 5 vanity types that I mentioned, and we're going to be looking at what exactly is it, why this vanity works, a pro design tip, and exactly what to include in your drawings to make it buildable. Today, I'm going to be using Rayon design. And if you didn't know, Rayon design is the fastest way to create beautiful presentations and accurate and stunning 2D drawings in a collaborative web-based manner. Feel free to download the free bathroom vanity templates in the description below and follow along with me. Let's get started with bathroom number 1. So let's talk about the first vanity here, and this is the floating clearance vanity. And this is actually a very, very popular vanity. You've probably already seen it done a few different times. And we'll talk about it in terms of a very small bathroom. Nowadays, people are living in small spaces, they're learning to live with it, and they're learning to work around it. A floating vanity can actually help, and it can obviously leave the floor visible underneath, giving the illusion of a lighter space, a cleaner space. It actually is easier for cleaning, and it also gives a very contemporary modern look. So let's take a look at our floor plan here, and there's even a mood board. So you can see here, obviously the top view of our vanity, and we can scroll over here and we see the design intent for this bathroom, which green, very on trend right now, very beautiful. So let's scroll over to this section. And this is where you can actually see the design suggestions for this vanity. So you can see that there's going to be 2 sinks, and each individual is going to have 2 different drawers. It looks like as if the millwork is designed to have no hardware, but more of a little nook where your fingers can go in and pull out the drawer, which, once again, very contemporary, very common now. We have some vessel sinks, which is a beautiful design choice. So let's move on to section BB, where you can see the other side of the bathroom. So here we have that freestanding tub that I was talking about earlier. Looks like we have a heated towel rack. We have some additional storage. So as you can see here, you get a beautiful idea of how this bathroom is coming together. Let's move on to page number 3. And here's where we can really see what this vanity is going to look like with this beautiful render. And yeah, it's very Scandinavian, very on trend. And what we see here in the top view we see a little bit more detail than we would see on the initial floor plan. So we have our dimensions here. As you can see, we have some more detailed views of how the sink will be, which it will be a single hole. And we even get an illustration of the countertop. Let's zoom in over here on this elevation. And once again, we're seeing the dimensions. We're seeing the clearances. And we're seeing exactly how this will fit on the wall. And let's go into the section. And a section is really like if you chopped through something. So in this case, we've sort of chopped through this vanity, and now we can see all of the detail. So we actually see some very important details, such as how this vanity is going to be installed, which typically they're installed with wall mounting brackets. We can see the drawer here and that little nook that I was talking about in order to open the drawer. And we see something really cool here. We see that there's built-in LED lights underneath the cabinet here. And that's a really nice detail to add with a floating vanity because it really does give that beautiful, luxurious feel. It's amazing for, in the middle of the night, you don't want to turn on all your lights and disrupt your sleep too much. It acts as if it's a night light, but obviously a lot more high-end and luxurious. So that's a beautiful detail. And you see, once again, the different finishes. We have marble stone countertop, and we have our vessel sink, also could be called a countertop basin. And we have all of the details here. If we want an even more in-depth look, we can take a look here, and you see all of the dimensions for each piece of millwork. So whether this is wood, there's melamines, there's MDFs, you will see the little details that go into it. And this is obviously very, very critical for the millwork shop. So my hot designer tip here was to add under cabinet lighting. That really separates a typical floating vanity to a custom designer one. And I'm actually going to show you how you can draw this yourself. So I've zoomed in here and I've removed the light that was previously there. And I actually want to talk about a few things on this section drawing before we get to drawing light. So as you can see here, there's actually support blocks. So we noted of the wall mounting brackets, but there's also these two support blocks, which are very standard and necessary to add in your floating vanities. This is actually making it buildable and not just sort of pie in the sky, draw whatever you want. So it's very important to note this. And it's also important to note that you can't just plop a label floating vanity. We have to make it realistic. So you have to be intentional with the sizing of everything, and also you have to be considerate of the counter height. So typically it is 34 to 36 inches from floor to counter. 36 inches is the same as kitchen height. So typically it's the same or a little lower. So let's get back into drawing the lights. So let's zoom in here and select this bottom piece of MDF, I would assume. We're gonna drag it away from the wall and we're gonna create room for the lights. Very easy, you just click and you can drag. So let's go into our little toolkit and we're gonna open up shapes. Here we can open up rectangle and we can select where we want this rectangle to start. So we can click in this corner and we can line it up nicely. As you can see, it's lined up, and we can click out. Now I actually want to fill this with a yellow color to signify a light. So I'm going to add a fill and I'm going to press yellow. And there we go. But we also want to add a leader. We don't want to just leave this on this drawing unmarked. So to mark this, we're going to press here, leader, and we're going to click where we want it to start and where we want it to end. And you can edit this later, so it's really no fuss. And then we can type in what we want to type in. I've copied and pasted this little note. So built-in LED light, see details in the next sheet. And FYI, this should be found in your electrical drawings as well. So let's just press done. And as you can see, we need to actually match this font and style to what we already have going on. So we can easily click here on the leader. We can click this little droplet on Pick Styles, and we can match it to the other fonts in the drawing. And we can further edit it here. And as you can see, we can make it fit where we want it to. So let's say I'm happy with that. We just click out and we're done. All right, let's get into the second vanity we're going to be looking at, and that is the Maximized Corner Vanity. So think about awkward spaces, small bathrooms once again. In the real world of interior design, there's going to be a lot of less than ideal floor plans that you'll have to work with and you'll have to design around. You still need something that gives storage, that's functional, and that looks good. So let's zoom in on our floor plan here, and we can see our vanity in question. So it's a pretty cool bathroom, but yeah, there wasn't really much options for where the vanity would go. As you see, they prioritized the beautiful jacuzzi tub and shower. So really this is a wet room. And so we kind of got stuck with this corner vanity. But it's okay, because as you'll see, we've really made the most out of this vanity. So let's go into our elevations here. And we're getting a peek into this vanity millwork. We can see where the mirror is going to go. We can see that there's some clever storage for some hand towels. And now let's take an even closer look. So we're going to scroll on over to page 3. And let's take a look at this vanity. And let's look at the design. And I think it's cool overall. I like the fact that it has open storage. I like the fact that it's sleek and it's utilizing the corner. However, someone can just knock themselves on this corner. I mean, I don't know, I'm pretty clumsy and I'm always hitting my foot on corners and, scraping myself. So it might just be me, but when we design, we're designing for people and we're designing for functionality and also comfort. So it'd probably make more sense for these areas to be curved. You would still gain the functionality of storage, but you're eliminating this harsh corner where, once again, people can actually hurt themselves. So I'm going to show you how we can round out these corners. The first step here is to select polyline, and we're going to trace around this vanity. And if we want to have a little bit of thicker line, we can do that over here. So we're going to connect these two lines and we're going to hit escape. Then we're going to hit polyline again and connect the corners to themselves. So I'm going to hit escape, polyline again, and I'm going to hit escape. Now with this selected, I'm going to go in this toolkit and I'm going to press fillet. And I'm going to select these two segment lines. And here it's asking for the radius. So I'm going to put 10. Done. Let's do the same on this side. Done. Cool. I'm going to press line and I'm going to connect this together. And now I'm going to select all of these lines. So I'm going to hold down Shift and I'm going to highlight everything in blue. And now I'm going to join this. So I'm going to go in this toolkit and press join. While this is connected, I'm going to go into my little pick styles and I'm going to fill in this area. And now I'm going to very carefully delete these corners. So delete, delete. We're going to press done. We're going to go into layers and we're going to make sure that areas is turned on. So now that we've turned our vanity into one with rounded corners, let's take a look at the rest of this page. So it includes an elevation where you can see what's intended for the storage. You can see the mirror once again, the detail with the sink and faucet. And here in this section, you can see something cool. You can see that this is going to be intended for laundry storage, which is really nice, really sleek. And over here we have a mood board. So we can see the beautiful jacuzzi tub. We can have a picture of how the vanity is going to look. Of course, this was before we tailored it, but we still get the idea. So overall, I would say that this is a very clever vanity. And I want to give you a little bit of a blueprint tip before we move on. You can never assume that walls are straight. You can never assume that, a corner is a perfect right angle. Obviously, in your drawing, typically you see everything straight and perfect, but in the real life of interior design, it's never that simple. So you need to go on site, or your trade person needs to go on site and verify the actual angle and double check your walls before you go ahead with custom millwork. We're moving on to the third vanity type, and that vanity type is statement piece vanity. And in this case, what makes it a statement is the vessel sink. And I've actually mentioned the vessel sink in this document package previously. So vessel sinks are ones that sit on top of the counter, and they come in all shapes and sizes. And like I said, I used to be in custom millwork design, so I'm very familiar with different plumbing brands, and these vessel sinks can be extraordinary. There are some that are hand painted, they're funky shapes, there's different colors, different formats. It's a world of its own, and it's an absolutely amazing way to make a vanity really stand out. The important thing to know with these types of sinks is that you have to be very considerate with the type of faucet that goes with the sink. So actually, you can do wall-mounted faucets, which are really cool. You just have to make sure that you're installing them at the proper heights. And you can do taller faucets for these vessel sinks. So you can't put a typical faucet, otherwise you'll get splashing and it just won't be comfortable for the person to wash their hands. So the moral of the story here is make sure that everything is working in harmony. Your sink, your faucet, and your millwork. So let's take a look further into this document. So this bathroom is actually really cool. You have a separate toilet room, which I highly recommend if you have the space. Beautiful shower room, freestanding tub, which there's some beautiful freestanding tubs as well. And we have our mood board. And I would say this statement vanity actually makes a statement as well due to the color. I mean, people tend to shy away from color, but I find that people are very comfortable with the color blue. So in my interior design work, I've done a lot of blue vanities in kitchens. I would love to spice it up with some burgundies and some other jewel tones, but people gravitate towards blue. So let's take a look at some of the elevations now. Once again, stunning freestanding tub. Here you can see there's a wall-mounted tub faucet. So that's pretty cool. I think, they're kind of a little bit more modern than other freestanding tub fillers, but to each their own. We have some beautiful tiles shown here, which is very clever because you will get some, water splashing when someone's taking a bath. We have details on the flooring. We can see into the shower now, and we can see there's this beautiful ledge where you can put soaps and decor. And let's take a look at the vanity. Okay, how about we take a look at this elevation first? So you do see beautiful, lovely vessel sinks, and there we have it. We have the faucets that I was referencing, the wall-mounted faucets, which I love. They are a little bit more work in a sense of you need to specify the roughen behind the wall beforehand. So keep that in mind. You can't just slap this in last minute. It's more of an intentional investment into the design. But you do have some beautiful shelving here for some, very luxurious towels or, whatever it may be. If we look into the section here, we can see details within the millwork as we discussed before. Yeah, so we see open storage. This one is not a floating vanity. It's just a typical vanity that sits on the floor. And there's nothing wrong with that. That has a sort of elegance and it's a little bit more traditional, which some people do gravitate towards. And we see the plan view here, all detailed, dimensioned, gorgeous. And let's look at our mood board. So we actually have a specific color picked out here. So this one, it's very lovely actually. And we have some chrome. Chrome is very in. You can see the specified items here. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. And as usual, we also have details here for the mill worker. So if you need to get down to the nitty-gritty, here we have it. You can zoom in here and we can see how thick the countertop is. We can see the door. We can see all of the framing detail. So very important to have. So before we move on, I actually want to show you how you can add dimensions to your drawing in Rayon. And blueprint tip here, it's very important to show the height of the counter, the thickness of the counter, the spout clearance, dimensions for each detail. You have to ensure functionality and show all the clearances. So let's actually show you how you can add those dimensions. So let's zoom in here and let's say we want to show the overall counter heights. We just click dimension, we click our starting points, and we can click our ending point. And I can zoom in on here to be very exact, and we can drag, and I'm just going to drag this here for now. And we may want to edit this dimension style, so I can quickly edit it by copying the other styles. And maybe I even want to change this unit type. So maybe you're using metric, maybe imperial, I don't know. Let's change it. So while it's selected, you can click edit. And we see model canvas comes up. And we can change it to whatever we want. So maybe I want millimeters, maybe I want inches, feet in inches, whatever your drawing requires, you can change it very easily. So now we're moving on to the fourth vanity we'll be talking about, and that is the open concept vanity. So if you're after that industrial spa look, if you're after something that's open and airy and has a lot of character and charm, the Console Vanity might be perfect for your project. So this vanity is more like a piece of furniture. It has open shelving, the legs, it has exposed plumbing, and there's a lot of character that can be brought in. So let's take a look at the floor plan, and immediately we can see the location of this vanity. And this bathroom doesn't have a tub, but not every bathroom has a tub. It's still a very functional, well thought out bathroom, with the vanity being the focal point. And we can see here, it's sort of, once again, that industrial spa. And I think it's really fun to take advantage of elements in design that aren't necessarily typically highlights. So I love industrial design because it makes ductwork, beautiful. It makes exposed plumbing beautiful. And there's a little bit more rawness and realness. So let's take a look at some elevations. And yeah, we can see here, we have the wall-mounted faucets again, which once again, they bode well with industrial look. We have the exposed plumbing. We have that open shelf. And it's really cool because nowadays you can get different covers that go over this exposed plumbing if you like. They can come in all different types of finishes and colors. The plumbing itself can come in all different types of finishes and colors. The furniture legs, the hardware, everything can come in different finishes. So you have an opportunity to mix metals and mix finishes. Some people like more matchy-matchy. Some people like sort of a mix and match eclectic look. So you really can go crazy here if you'd like. Let's move on. So yeah, here we're seeing that exposed plumbing, and we'll take an even deeper dive in the section here. So blueprint tip. You want to make sure that everything is very clearly marked. So the leg positions, the clearances, how much space you're going to have so you can plan for what you're going to be storing. And you want to make sure that all of the finishes are marked. So I just told you that you could do all these different finishes, so you actually want to make sure that you're specifying that properly. So it's very important to detail every single thing on your drawing. You don't want people to assume it. So moving along on this page, we can see that we have a stunning, very realistic render, and we have further details here on this elevation. So as you can see, there's many different styles. If you click on a surface, you can see what style it's under, which is obviously very helpful. And you can change these styles very easily. So let's do that with this counter here. So once it's selected, we can go here and we can change the style to whatever we'd like. So, maybe we just want to change it to yellow. Probably not, but you could do that. Let's change it to this gray, which is more of a black. Let's say we want to edit this style and we want everything under this style to change. So while this is selected, we go to edit style. And maybe once again, this is a little too charcoal. Maybe we want it to read as more of a lighter gray. So you can see here, I have that option to edit fill. I also have different options to make it a texture, a hatch. I can even import an image. But let's say to make it simple, I just want it to be a little bit of a lighter gray than it was. So let's go back and I've changed it here. I can even change the stroke. Let's see how that looks. Maybe a little thinner. So I've given it a stroke, and now I've actually changed this style in totality. So everything in my drawing that has this style will change to reflect the new properties. All right, so we made it to the fifth and final vanity that I'll be talking about in this tutorial, and it's the spacious vanity. So think of large bathrooms, think primary en-suites. It's a freestanding vanity that mimics furniture. It almost mimics a dresser. And for 2025, we're really seeing this becoming a huge trend. So think walnut vanities, fluted fronts, moody greens, blues. Let's take a look at this bathroom design. So you can see here, yes, it's spacious. It takes up about half the bathroom, and I'm not mad at that. We can see here this stunning mood board and a beautiful inspiration photo, which I'll be showing you how you can actually very easily copy and paste a photo from Pinterest into Rayon. But let's take a look at these elevations first. So you can see here, yes, we have some open drawers and we have some closed drawers. So let's take a look at these sections here. And while we're taking a look here, I want to give you a bit of a blueprint tip, and that is to leave clearances from the walls and toilets. So you want at least 4 inches. And this is going to be great for cleaning. And we also want to ensure that we are using our elevation drawings to show drawer and door layouts. So we're going to actually be taking a zoom here and take a look at the labels. So we have open shelf, we have our notes on the integrated handle, and once again, we do have installation notes, which is very helpful to know. So earlier I mentioned that you can simply copy and paste photos from Pinterest or Google straight into Rayon. So this means that Rayon is sort of your one-stop shop, and you can create beautiful, stunning mood boards in one software. So I'm actually going to show you how we can do that. So here I am in Pinterest, in my Pinterest, and let's type in bathroom. Here we have some stunning vessel sinks like I was telling you about. Let's see what I want to pop in. Let's say I want to pop in this photo. Once again, very arbitrary. Let's select copy image. And now I'm going to hop back into Rayon and we're going to paste it. So we're back in Rayon. Let's paste my little Pinterest find here. And there we have it. Amazing. I'm going to delete this one and I'm going to replace it with this photo. And I can obviously scale it. And there we have it. That was super, super easy. So there you have it. You now have the blueprints for 5 vanity types that designers such as myself utilize to maximize bathroom space. Let's run it back one more time. So we took a look at the floating clearance vanity, which is perfect for small spaces. We took a look at the maximized corner vanity, which is made for tricky spaces. We looked at the statement piece vanity, which is perfect for making a bold statement. We looked at the open concept vanity, which is perfect for light and airy spaces. And we looked at the spacious freestanding vanity when you need a lot of storage. So each vanity solves a real-world problem. And your blueprint is what turns the idea into a buildable plan, a buildable vanity that a millworker can actually create. Make sure to download the free bathroom layout template from Rayon Design. It's linked in the description, and you can start designing your own dream bathroom today. If this video gave you a good glance into the real world of designing for bathrooms and vanities, then give this video a like. It might help other interior design professionals or inspiring interior design professionals find this video. Let us know down below in the comments, which vanity blueprint did you appreciate the most? Which one's your favorite vanity and which one do you actually see using in your own interior design projects? We're happy to answer any questions, we're happy to chat, and we actually do read every comment and we do try and reply as well. So let us know what your thoughts are, let us know what you're working on, and let us know what you want to see next. Happy designing!